in South Louisiana. Anyone who's got allergies, take this.
NAD is probably the biggest thing coming out right now on anti-aging. Normally, like when we're tight in here and you start getting that pressure and you're taking those joints and muscles through full range, this one feels almost addicting.
So consistency over intensity. And then we're just going to roll up and down. It seems crazy, but when you go get massages and they're finding tightness in here, the first thing you need to do is start releasing this stuff. Kelly, thank you. You did the exercises last week and it helped a lot.
Good evening, my friends. How are y'all doing? How is everybody? Happy Wednesday. Happy almost end of Q1. I know that is frightening my staff and all of our friends. Like, where's the year going? But welcome to Tea with Dr. D. I come on and answer questions. If you haven't been here before, you don't know who I am. Somebody sent you this. I'm Dr. Derek Hines. I'm the founder of Acadiana Pain and Performance and Hero Health. And we try and take the best research, the best technology, the best evidence and treatment and blend all that together to get people better health, no matter where you're at, whether it's like I'm hurting and I need to level up to start healing, or I'm an elite athlete and I want to improve my performance, my mobility, my health. And this is an extension of that, kind of answer y'all's questions and see what actionable insights we can bring in. So please say hi. I'm here for you. Hopefully that we can give you some value and give you some action steps. I'm a tea drinker. If you don't know, I've been a tea drinker forever. And so we started doing this a long time ago and it was like tea time. We did Tea with Dr. D. And today I'm actually drinking, it's a little cheat on the show. So today I am drinking a glutathione kind of, it's not really tea, let's be honest, but it's a glutathione kind of powder. And it's got some really good stuff, got good amount of N-acetylcysteine, a bunch of B vitamins, C vitamins, and selenium. Good little thing, good little kind of afternoon pick-me-up I've been using for a while. And hasn't been affecting my sleep at all. There's no caffeine in it. So that's my tea for the day. You can kind of get that energy out of it and no caffeine. I'm kind of liking that for the moment. So that's what I'm drinking. Join me with whatever tea. Let me know what you're drinking, what you got. If you're an afternoon tea drinker, for all my European followers, let me know what y'all got. I know this is sacrilege that I call it Tea with Dr. D, and I'm drinking some weird glutathione concoction for y'all. But you can text us if you have questions. We'll throw the little text link up there. Those go straight to me, 801-691-7582. I do get those, and I answer those as much as I can. I can't promise you it's in real time, but within a week, I'll get an answer to you for sure. And whatever questions, we've gotten everything from health, supplements, anything in between. So with that said, let me know what questions y'all have. Anything is on the table and we'll dive in. Hey, Sarah, let's see what you got. I keep hearing about glutathione being the master antioxidant. What does it do? Yeah, I'm sure this is probably partly from me in terms of asking or talking more about glutathione. There was some research that came out fairly recently that showed how much glutathione was related in Parkinson's and Alzheimer's brains, both being quite depleted. So that's kind of what the renewed conversations around glutathione came from. But glutathione is called your master antioxidant because it is the one that helps to replenish and elevate all the other antioxidants in your body. And your antioxidant system is your cleaning and protecting system. So when you have an antioxidant, when you use energy in your body, it's like using fuel in your car, right? You like accelerate and you burn more fuel, and that creates these byproducts. That creates exhaust. The same thing happens in our body. If we rev our engine and we're being really active, we create more exhaust is what we'll call it. And we've got to clean that up. That's these free radicals that get produced. And if we go and we don't clean those up, they start to create inflammation and cell damage and all these problems. So we need an antioxidant, that's oxidative stress, to clean up the damage and protect us from that damage. When we don't do that, we're going to start noticing that like we heal really slow. The number one thing we see in people who are depleted in antioxidant function, there's a lot of fatigue and brain fog. You'll see like simple things that become difficult in terms of focus and memory even start to get involved in that. And that's a telltale sign that we need to raise our antioxidant function. So if you're looking at some of this stuff, you can supplement with it for sure. You know, I'm part of what I'm drinking right there has some N-acetylcysteine in it that helps raise it. Things like protein, it's made from amino acids, increase your protein intake, can help increase your glutathione levels, increase vitamin C. And then exercise and even fasting is another natural way to improve your glutathione levels. I would supplement with it. It's one of the few things that I think that it's so important for overall health. In every cell in your body, you need glutathione to help keep oxidative stress clean. So it's one that I would actually go ahead and supplement for sure. But do the other things as well. You know, make sure you're getting vitamin C, make sure you're getting good protein, make sure you're exercising. Yes, it is your master antioxidant. Yes, you do need it and you should take it. Not a fad, been around for a long time, but good question, Sarah. Awesome. Hey, Mike, how are you, man? I've always thought creatine was for bodybuilders. Is there actually a benefit for brain health or aging? Creatine's like the kind of you know, never ending story. People keep like hating on it and putting it down and it keeps rearing its head back up. There was a bunch of studies in the last few years that shifted more towards brain health. And I think that created this renewed attention for creatine. When you look at creatine, it's part of the energy pathway. So it helps our body produce energy, even our brain cells. And that's where this stuff comes in. For bodybuilders and for muscle cells, it gives us more energy to repair and to exercise and function well. But even for us normal people, there's been studies that show like it helps mitigate sleep loss symptoms. So if you don't get a good night's sleep and you ramp up your creatine amount, you can actually like mitigate the fatigue and the loss of focus and even the motor coordination problems that low creatine levels or low sleep levels create. So like that piqued everybody's interest. Like, oh, well, if I sleep poorly, like get 15 or 20 grams of creatine and I'll mitigate a lot of those negative effects. So I think creatine is one of the ones that for the aging population, I don't know that an 18-year-old, athlete needs to be taking it, to be completely honest. But I think everybody over 40 who's trying to stay physically and mentally sound, it probably is worth taking. It's such a cheap thing in terms of how much you take 5 grams a day on average. And then like, yes, if you're sleeping poorly, maybe ramp that up a little bit. I think it's a low hanging fruit thing that helps quite a bit in terms of focus, energy, all of the above. The studies just keep coming out that creatine, like it still works. Get creatine monohydrate. You don't need anything super fancy. It definitely will, increase muscle preservation, brain energy, overall cellular energy. So I don't think it's a gym supplement anymore. I think it's an energy and longevity supplement now. So yeah, add your creatine in for sure. I do. That's one of the ones that I put in every day. Hey, everybody tune in. Y'all drop us a line. If you got a question, just drop it in there. We'll grab it if we can. Hey, Jason, how are you, man? How do I know if my pain is actually coming from a nerve and not just a muscle or a joint? I think the telltale signs for us in the office for nerve pain are like burning symptoms and like moving symptoms, like symptoms that radiate or run, tend to make you get interested. Are we dealing with some nerve stuff? When activity consistently increases pain, it also is something that, again, just kind of like clues us in. If you have it traveling, if it's burning or tingling, and it doesn't respond to like muscle treatments. One of the other things for nerve pain is that it is not typically affected by our typical medications, anti-inflammatories, joint or muscle treatments. And whenever those things don't work, and people have said, like, I've tried this, I do anti-inflammatories, they don't work, we're going to get really interested in looking at the nerves around that area. If your pain is very localized, you can pinpoint it, it's sore or it's tight, and movement kind of improves it, chances are you're dealing with like a joint or a muscle problem. And almost if it's not that, it's not localized, it's not that it's sore and tight, it's kind of weird pain. And then when you move, it gets worse. I would lean towards nerve stuff. And that gives us a whole different focus of what we need to do, because we really need to protect nerves. We need to get pressure off of them. We need to get blood flow in through the whole nerve tract. And that leads you down a different treatment pathway. So knowing that it's nerve and it's not responding to the typical muscle or joint stuff can be really, really helpful with you. So hopefully that helps kind of identify where that's at. And then you can start asking some different questions. Can I find practitioners who are going to help more in terms of nerve treatment versus somebody who's just going to do a lot of hands-on stuff? Not that that's bad, but typically if we have a nerve injury and inflammation, we need some stuff to tell the nerves to heal. So hope that helps, Jason. Let us know if you need anything on that. All right. Hey, y'all. How are y'all? Linda, how are you? What is the biggest mistake people make when they're trying to stay healthy as they get older? Okay, that's a good question. In a few months, I'll tell you, hey, here's a whole like 300-page book that you can read on this topic. My main thing that I would say when we're looking at people who are trying to get healthy is that they focus on the small things first. They focus on like the quick changes before they focus on foundational changes. So, they start trying to get real specific with like, what is the very perfect workout moves that I need? And what is the exact diet that I need? And instead it's like, okay, how do I improve the quality of the foods that I'm eating? How do I move more? How do I sleep a little bit better? How do I improve nutrition? Like, let me fix these big buckets. How do I work on stress? And let me start making progress in these big buckets with habits that I can consistently do. I think if you do that, you're going to get much further faster, even though it feels like you're going slower. Like, this is kind of the slow down to speed up idea. It's like, I feel like I'm going through and I'm trying to rebuild my foundations. But when you start putting those things in, things start really compounding quickly and you build momentum much faster. When we go for like the quick fix thing very early, it gets really challenging for us to make sustainable changes. So that would be the biggest thing that I see is someone comes in and they're like, here's the list of supplements that I'm taking. Here's the exact like diet for my blood type that I'm eating. And I'm doing this very specific workout routine. And I'm like, are you sleeping good? Are you moving well? Are you eating good quality food? Are you managing stress well? And if you do all of those things, I think you put yourself in a much better position to create real lasting health changes. So build foundations first, build your health foundations first, and stay tuned. I'll have a whole book on that. No, but really, I do hope that makes some sense. Let me know if you have a follow-up question on that, because that does unpack like a whole series of answers, but I think all of them fall under like follow the right order and don't try and skip up to like the fast, fun things, which is often kind of the stuff that's kind of fine tuning and short-term changes. So I hope that helps, Linda. Let's see, Ashley, how are you? Hope you're doing well. I feel like I'm doing everything right, eating better, exercising, but I still can't lose weight. What am I missing? It's a good question. It's hard to know that here. I think when people are struggling to lose weight, I still go back to almost what we just said. I think it's instead of being so focused on the weight part, let's improve health. So let's make sure we're making good food quality, the choices. So like, am I eating a lot of whole foods that are not processed? And am I taking all the damaging stuff out? Am I minimizing sugar and processed carbohydrates? So like doing that, you're getting your body healthier. Can I move more and better? So when I'm exercising, am I moving my body better and getting my whole body healthier and stronger? And then am I recovering and sleeping well? Like, let's build a health practice there, because then I can start to kind of really ramp things up and fine tune it. I think if you improve metabolism and overall health, weight loss kind of becomes a byproduct. Now, there are issues where people have gotten metabolism problems and have gotten things off track. I think in that situation, look for practitioners. There are great ways to use the tools we have today safely. Mainly you talk about like GLP-1s. You talk about doing peptides even in stacks on top of GLP-1s. Talk about weight loss coaching and starting to really fine tune nutrition, but all that's built on top of a healthy base, right? Like if you try and do all that stuff, but we don't have food quality checked and we don't have movement checked and we're not recovering and sleeping and managing stress well, you're going to struggle. And so that's where I would go with it first, without kind of doing a full back and forth on here. It's definitely worth doing some testing and checking your vitamins, minerals, check your hormones, check thyroid, check all that stuff. But even with that, the answer is probably the same, right? Like, what if some of those things come back? It's like, yeah, I still need to elevate the health of all these things. I still need to build a healthy foundation so that my treatments work well. So hopefully that makes some sense. I hope that helps you a little bit. Focus more on like just overall health first, and then weight loss second. So hope that helps, Ashley. There's some great people in this area too. If you need some contacts, let me know. We've got some really good practitioners that can help with that. Hey, Brian, how are you, man? Let's see. What's actually happening when you fast? Fasting is interesting. So I think in the early stages, fasting got such a big name where it's like, am I intermittent fasting? Am I prolonged fasting? What's the difference in all this stuff? I think you can split those up. Like the initial, let's say 12 to 24 hours of fasting, what's happening inside your body is you're just burning the stored energy in your like muscle and liver in the form of like glycogen. You're still kind of basically using short-term fuel. Once you get outside of that like 24-hour window, probably 48 hours for most people, that's when we start to see your body going into like, how do I find and break down stored energy? And we get into like these more autophagy and ketogenic phases where your body is making its fuel. And this is where things get really fun when you're seeing the results of fasting in research. The fun results that I see are in prolonged fasting, the stuff that gets us excited for disease prevention, improving insulin sensitivity, basically getting rid of all diabetic symptoms. You look at the studies that Walter Longo's group is putting out, and it's exciting to see, like, basically, if we keep going into these fasting states and cleaning up these cells and improving insulin function, you can pretty much heal most diabetes, most type 2 diabetes. So this is all exciting. I mean, it's fun. It cleans up all the cells, but most of that doesn't happen until that like 48-hour window. This is why we talk a lot about fasting mimicking. My only issue with water only fasting is like, I do think that a decent portion of the calories that your body builds comes from muscle breakdown. And so in that situation, it's like, I really want to preserve as much muscle mass as we can. We know how important that is. And there's been studies that show fasting mimicking where you're eating like specific things in a low calorie format to like not kick your body out of fasting state, preserves muscle mass. So for almost everybody, that seems like a win-win to me. We get almost all the benefits of fasting, but we don't lose muscle mass. I'll take it. Like, even if we're losing just if it's 2% worse than water only fasting. That's what's happening inside your body. Your body's going into this like cellular cleanup phase of autophagy. And so it's breaking down all these cells that are potentially dysfunctional to use them as fuel. And that's where we get all these benefits of inflammation reduction, decreased risk for cancer, decreased risk for DNA damage, all these things that happen because your body is going selectively after these damaged cells. So hopefully that helps. I think that everyone should have a fasting program once a quarter, give or take. We use Prolon just because it's been studied so much. Getting into a fasting state and spending 5 days there if you're doing Prolon and get into that. I think it's one of the biggest things that we can do for disease prevention. That we have that button that we can push is get our body in that. So that's what it's doing. But I think we should do it is my follow-up to some of that stuff. So yeah. Hope that helps. Brian, let me know if you have any fasting questions. It's one of my favorite topics, as everybody knows on here. Hey, Kevin, how are you, man? Are cold showers worth it, or is it kind of the trend right now? That's a good question. I don't know if it's the trend. It seems like it's kind of comes in and out of favor with everyone. I'll tell you my funny story is that I want to install, and anyone listening to this, if you have the capability of doing this, reach out to me. I want to know how to do it. I love cold showers during the winter. I pair it with Wim Hof breathing. If you've ever heard of Wim, he's this really interesting guy who did some studies on what happens when he does his breathing method, basically controlled hyperventilation, but look it up, with cold exposure, and it gives you this immune boost. You get this immune workout every day. And so every day I basically try and do this and take a cold shower. Well, during the winter, I can do that really well. During the summer in South Louisiana, a cold shower is like 65 degrees or something if I'm lucky. And I'm like, everybody's got cold plunges. I'm like, I want like a cold reservoir in my shower that keeps it at like 40 degrees or whatever it is, 35 degrees, whatever we can do. Somebody listening to this, tell me. Where we can kind of click a button, and when I turn the water cold, it's pulling from this like really cold reservoir of like 40 degrees. So year round, I can take a proper cold shower. That's my want. That's how much I like doing these things. I think a few minutes of cold exposure is one thing, and it really does show good results in terms of like, the biggest thing is immune and mood boosting. We talk about inflammation, and I think it's helpful for that, but no one's talking about how much cold exposure helps with mood and hormone regulation. I'm like, this is what we need to talk about. We switched over our cryotherapy chambers from one to a different type. This has been a few years ago. And what we found was we had a bunch of patients come to us and they were like, I had no idea how much this was helping my mood for me to do cold exposure regularly. They were like, y'all need to get the cryo chamber back up and running. And that's one of the reasons I do it is like, it's always a challenge to me. It's like, I never want to do it. So it's a little discipline trigger. Every time I do it, I'm like, oh, yay. Hey, like, good job. I do think of it as an immune workout. Like, I have to go through my breathing and turn it on cold and then like handle your breathing, not respond. And so that gives you this little immune boost every day through your nervous system. And then if you listen to my conversation with Kevin Tracy, who wrote The Great Nerve about the vagus nerve, he talks a lot about how cold showers are a great way of doing vagus nerve stimulation. And I never realized how good I sleep after I do cold showers. And I didn't know where that came from. Is that just mitigating like cell stress? What is that doing? And the big thing that I found was like, it's probably vagus nerve activation. So that gets you into parasympathetic tone. and relaxes you. And now like you're going to get better sleep, the better your vagus nerve functions. And like it's never crossed my mind really that that's what was happening. So I think they're worth it because it's like you're already in there. You got to take a cold shower. You got to take a shower to get all these benefits just by turning the water cold. I think is valuable enough, even if it's just a discipline trigger for you. Like I don't think of a lot of these things when I'm doing it. I just know that like it's hard, it's a challenge, and most people won't go through and do it. So I'm going to, you know, do my breathing and have the discipline to do the hard thing. That's kind of how I think about it, and all the benefits that come from it are kind of lagniappe to me. Yeah, I think like cold exposure is great. Alone, the mental and immune benefits, I think, is worth it, much less like inflammation and cell recovery and all that stuff. So hope that helps. Try it. Turn the cold water on and just do some breathing. Hey, Heather, how are you? I hope you're doing great, my dear. It's been a while. I hope everything is going well. How long does inflammation take to go down when like BPC 157? Why would one have still high inflammatory markers? I think some of this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. BPC 157 is going to be a generalized reduction of inflammation, very often in the tissues, though, like very often throughout joints and muscles. It does work in the gut and the stomach first. So if I have inflammation there, it's going to start working through repair cycles in the lining of the gut so that it can repair that stuff. If we have gut issues, I think would be number one, that we're going to continue to keep high levels of inflammation with BPC 157. And I think if we're still getting systemic inflammation, we need to address that from some other pathways. If it's overall inflammation and we're trying to deal with like the system being inflamed, that's not really BPC's strong suit, to be completely honest with you. I think like prolonged fasting has been, of all the things that I have ever seen tested on our patients, the thing that I've seen move the needle the most in inflammation was people doing rounds of Prolon, like one a month for the few months in a row. I've had patients whose C-reactive protein came down like 50 to 80% after doing 3 rounds of Prolon. And I've yet to really see that level of systemic inflammation change from a compound. It's just got to be this global change in your body. There is a peptide called KPV that works better on systemic inflammation. You know, if we're looking at some of that, the other thing that you want to look at when you're dealing with systemic inflammation, like global inflammation, is where's it coming from, right? It's like, I can take all this stuff, but if I'm still in an inflammatory environment, if I'm still eating inflammatory foods, if I still have inflammatory producing cells in my body, I'm kind of casting a pebble in a river. I'm really going to struggle to get ahead of that stuff. So some of that is like doing some testing, doing some toxin testing, probably looking for any environmental issues, making sure that we're not, dealing with like some mold stuff or heavy metal toxicity or some food allergies. Like, are we inadvertently adding things into our environment or into our body that's causing inflammation, while over here, unbeknownst to us, we're trying to fight inflammation? So I know that kind of gives you a couple of pathways to look at. I would definitely look at fasting. I would definitely look at environmental things and nutrition. Is there things that you might be sensitive to or inflammatory to? A couple of things. Hopefully that helps you a little bit. All right. Karen, how are you? If you could only take 3 supplements, I knew one of these was going to come at some point. If you can do only 1 exercise, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. If you could only take 3 supplements for health and longevity, what would they be? I get it. I do think that that's valuable enough. My 3. Whew. What would I say? Glutathione would probably be number 1. If we're looking at health and longevity, what would these be? Glutathione's number 1 for sure. I would probably put vitamin D, like maybe a vitamin D with K2 stacked together. We're going to count that as 1. That would be my number 2. And I think my number 3, as of right now, would be NAD. Keeping our cells clean, keeping them functioning really well, and keeping our mitochondria functioning really well, giving NAD, making sure, and then keeping our immune system healthy, vitamin D. I think that'd be my 3. I could see a case, to be completely honest, depending on your history, to include something like omega-3 in there. Omega-3s have some really cool benefits. And then if somebody had like a nervous system issue, then I might sub one of those out for like magnesium. Magnesium continues to grow in research on my list of the amount of benefits that taking magnesium can bring. So you get some bonus ones in there, but I think my main ones would be glutathione, vitamin D, and NAD if we're looking just for like health and longevity. Yes, I knew. Of course, Heather, you can put that one up if it's only one exercise. But I'll answer this. I'll give. It would be walking. If you look at if you go back and watch those like blue zones, if you look at research around this stuff, look, I think we have to stay strong physically, but all of these places, they walk a lot. These places where people live to 100, they walk. Whenever I have a patient who takes their step count from like 3,000 steps a day to like 7,500 steps a day, hands down, every single time they're like, I feel better mentally, physically, digestion, everything feels better when they get up to that like 7,500 steps a day. So like, if you were like, if someone only worked out or only walked, I would pick walking. Then that's, there's good studies that show like walking 10 minutes a day extends your life by like 2.5 years. And you're like, okay, like we can all add like dedicated time to do some walking. So that's my easy one. Love it. Awesome stuff, everybody. Thank you. We will be doing this every month, last Wednesday of the month, unless otherwise stated. So put this on your calendar, April 29th, Tea with Dr. D. I'll be here. I'll answer whatever questions we can get through. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I hope you can find one thing to do a little bit healthier today that will change your trajectory and create some momentum in health. And that might be having a little earlier dinner. That might be taking a 10-minute walk, but I hope that helps. Have a good one, everybody.